All right, so today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about function operations. Now, you guys in the rewind had a chance to work with two operations. What operations did you work with?
Subtraction and addition.
Very good. So we're going to show you how your skills with polynomials, right? These are polynomials here. Those skills that you learned at the end of the first semester are going to come back into play today. All right? So in this slide, it gave you all the different operations and notations that we're going to use. It's really, really important that you understand that these mean the same thing. All right? If I write f plus g of x, that's the same as taking f of x and adding g of x. Yes, so make sure you know that all of that means the same stuff. All right? Because I can write it either way on the assessments. You need to know what to do. All right? So let's do some examples of these operations. The first example is addition. So I always write it with the other notation. The other notation is f of x plus g of x. So again, the one that's on the slide and one that I wrote, they mean the same thing. There's no difference there. So I'm going to write f of x. Well, what is f of x?
4x plus 3x.
Very good. All right, and what is g of x?
6x plus 2.
And I'm going to add that. Now notice, what did I do around the 6x plus 2? I used parentheses. Now in the addition, it won't affect it. All right, so the parentheses are not actually needed in addition. But you're going to see when we do the next one how the parentheses are important. Okay, so just get in the habit of writing parentheses. Okay, so what happens when you add those together? How should I do that? Very good. Combine terms, just like you did in the rewind. So what's going to be my function when I add these two functions together? So no, there's actually no other like term like 4x squared, so that just comes down. Plus 9x. And then negative 1 plus 2 is 1. And that's it. Yes. So that is equal to f plus g of x.
Oh, I like that. That's the and you asked.
Yes, that is the answer. You can ask as well. Great. Let's try the other one. Andy, did you have a question? Great, thanks. Let's try the next one. What do you notice about the next one? Same thing, but subtraction. So I'm going to write f of x minus g of x. So I'm going to write exactly the same stuff, but it's going to be subtraction. So 4x squared plus 3x minus 1 minus 6x plus 2. So notice, what did I write around the 6x plus 2 again? Parentheses. Now, some of you might do something with that. Some of you might do what with this subtraction and the parentheses? You might distribute, multiply, right? And you're more than welcome to do that. I don't. All right? I just make sure that I know what I'm subtracting. So again, I have 4x squared. Do I have a squared term over here? No, so that's still going to be 4x squared. But this time, it's not 3x plus 6x. It's what? So what is 3x minus 6x? Negative 3x. And these are where it gets kind of tricky. Students will do negative 1 plus 2. But that's what we did before. It's actually negative 1 minus 2. What is negative 1 minus 2? Negative 3. Very good. All right, so again, if you're having trouble with that, I highly recommend the yellow calculators. Are there any questions about addition or subtraction? Great question, but that's not about addition or subtraction. Well, let's wait till we get to that operation.
I don't have a question right now after that. One going to come up.
Okay, well, you let me know. All right, let's move on to the next two operations. What are the next two? Multiplication and division. So let's do the multiplication one first. It says f times g of x. So another way to write this is f of x times g of x. All right, so I'm going to write f of x first, x plus 2, times g of x, x squared minus 4. Guys, this should look very familiar to stuff that we did in December, where we multiplied polynomials. So how are we going to multiply polynomials? Distribute. Very good. We're going to distribute. All right, so I'm going to distribute this x onto what?
X cubed, everything. Never mind.
Not everything, but
Like term.
everything over here. All right, everything in the second function. So what is x times x squared? No, x cubed. What is x times negative 4?
4x, negative 4x.
Very good, negative 4x. All right, now what am I going to do with that positive 2? The same thing, very good. So what's 2 times x squared? So plus 2x squared. And finally, 2 times negative 4. Very good. Now this is the answer, but why is this technically wrong?
You combine like terms.
No, actually there's no like terms. Because they're not in order.
Is x cubed plus 2x squared minus 4x minus 8.
Very good. So that is something that we call what type of form when we put in order? No.
Let's call
Thank you, Scala. It is standard form. Right? If you knew it, you would have said it. All right, so that's how we do multiplication. Any questions? Now, I had Andy, you asked about division, but if you ask your question about this, do I want you to factor this?
Nope.
No, and technically, we already know the factors. They're right here.
What does they say?
No, they're right here. Right? All right, let's do the last one. G over f of x. So what operation is that? Division. So I'm going to write g of x over f of x. All right, well, g of x is x squared minus 4, and f of x is x plus 2. Now, this is similar to number 2 in your rewind. How did you guys attempt to simplify number 2 in the rewind?
Factor.
Factor. So we want to factor. Can you factor either of those?
No. Top one.
Just the top one.
X minus 2.
Very good. The top one is an example of dots. Do you remember what that stands for?
Divide all things.
Close. Difference of two squares. Difference of two squares. You will need to know that for the end of course assessment. Okay, you got it. So that's how we factor the difference of two squares. Now again, this didn't happen for you guys in the rewind where you didn't have any that were the same. But in this case, I do have two factors that are the same. Do you guys see the common factor that I have? Okay, so what am I going to do with x plus 2 over x plus 2? I'm going to make 1. So what's left? Very good, just x minus 2. And this is the answer, but there's one other piece I need to include. Very good, Andy. Very good, Rossi. Rossi and Andy are feeling it today. I love it. Right? For those watching, that's Rossi Arscott, who has many broads in Atlanta, just letting you know. And for those of you that are listening that are the administration, that was just a joke, not actually true. All right. If you look in the denominator, it says x plus 2. We cannot have what in the denominator? We cannot have 0. We can have negatives. That's okay. We can't have 0. Because if we divide by 0, that's how the day after tomorrow starts. Okay? So we can't divide by 0. So what number plus 2 makes 0? Negative 2. So I'm going to write comma, x cannot be equal to negative 2. All right, so that is my answer. It is not. All right? The day after tomorrow is not a zombie movie. Okay, so now what I'm going to have you guys work on is I'm going to give you 7 minutes to do these 4 problems. All right? 7 minutes to do these 4 problems.